What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are resuming progress on the KCRX build. Yesterday I did running around. I got everything that I needed. If you guys saw, I had a checklist that I needed to do to get this car to turn on, and I was running around, got everything, got a lot of stuff installed. I'll show you guys in a second. And then I went in my room and I passed out. When I woke up, I came outside. It was a little later in the evening. I got all the families over, the kids and everybody. We were all just chilling, having a great time, and I didn't really wrench too much. I also mentioned that I wanted to get this car to turn on, not necessarily driving, but turned on before the 15th, and that means we got 1 day left. So this is the list right here that I had made in the last video, and I've crossed out a ton of it already. And the biggest thing right now is the fuel system, which we are going to be taking care of today. But I got new spark plugs. I installed a new valve cover, that guy right there with the tape in the corner, because I don't want it to get damaged from the hood. It has a new gasket on it. I do have engine oil. I don't have transmission oil. I got my grounds installed, TPS conversion. I got the oil filter on, the IAT sensor, the O2 sensor, and I just need a battery, which I can just rob out of the wagon since it just sits there with a brand new battery in the trunk. Today's a little warm, but it is a little breezy, so it's not too bad. Not that it stops me anyways, but I can already feel myself sweating. It's like 12 o'clock right now, and I'm ready to get down to work. So with the new gasket, I didn't want to put it on the silver valve cover because this is going to be my main one, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to throw on the new valve cover, slap it on here, and just tighten everything down accordingly. I had to sort this guy out right here because it was sitting very loosely in it, and now I got it all nicely pressed in. It doesn't really move. I also got this guy right here pressed in as well too, and we're not going to be running that weird sensor that was sitting here, so we don't have a vacuum line to it. But I think I'm going to run a vacuum line from here underneath to go over to this guy, since this guy is open and typically sits on the side of the intake manifold. Got the TPS harness right here kind of rigged up. I did get some new ones from CJSWIRING, and this one right here, I somehow lost the other end of the plug. Don't know where it went, but I did pin it in. I made a block off plate for the map sensor because I'm not running the B series one, I'm running the K series one, so I blocked that. This one doesn't need to be blocked off because it is pre-throttle body valve, which is on this side, so it won't cause no idle surge. I did modify the harness a little bit. I took off all of the plastics that made the harness look super bulky, so now it's all nicely tucked like closer to the engine, so it's not a sore eye. I think it looks good. Just a few odds and ends that I took care of yesterday, but today, like I said, we're taking care of the fuel system, which is right here in this box, everything that I need. And big shout out to Brian at B&R Fitting for sponsoring the fuel system for the KRX build. If you guys don't know, at least out here where I'm at, Brian, B&R Fitting is local. I mean, driving distance, but local, and he pretty much has everything you need to build your fuel system. If I needed something or I need it right away, I could just drive out to him, pick it up, come back, and continue making progress on whatever it is that I'm working on. So once again, thank you to Brian for sponsoring this video, hooking it up with the fuel system for the KRX build. If you guys want to check out Brian's Instagram or his website, the link are always in the description below. Be sure to check it out and let him know I sent you. So whenever I convert my lines to AN, I always go -6, like the minimum as far as feed in goes. When you start stepping into like different territories of horsepowers, you know, your line's gonna vary. Then, you know, you go 8, 10, 12, and then one size smaller for your return line. Like my CRX over there has a -8 feed and then a 6 return. In this car, I'm gonna do a 6 and a 6 back because both the hard lines are 5/16, so they're practically the same size, and I don't have to step one size down since I am still retaining the stock hardline. We got some 6 hoses. I have another box of 3 feet just in case I run out. I have all my fittings. Actually, these guys, I've already had them, all these little white bags. These are from Summit Racing. I've had these as well too. These are the filters. This is the fuel pressure regulator, the fuel pressure gauge, and all these little clear bags is everything that Brian hooked me up with as far as my fuel system goes. And he's also shown me this for the very first time. This is like lubrication, synthetic grease with PTFE for anything that's O-ringed, so that way the O-ring doesn't dry out or dry rot. And you just dab a little bit on here, get it nice and damped before you bolt it down, and it should be golden. I've shown how to do fuel systems so many times, recent one being Tiger's car. I'm not going to go full step by step on it, but I'm going to take you guys along with it. This one goes here, in between the valve cover, in between the stud, into the AM fuel rail. And that's pretty much the passenger side. This one right here was a pain in the booty hole to do, because it had a sharp 90 hard line coming out of the firewall, and it wasn't enough for the compression fitting to grab onto. And the reason why I said there wasn't enough is because I was trying to push this fitting as far back into the firewall as possible to kind of keep this away from the header. I might wrap this later, I'm not 100% sure, but I wanted to push this closer to the firewall. So this took a little while. I had to do this inside the car upside down and then bend it back out because I cut it further in, and then bent it back out to have the fitting kind of on the firewall so we can have it as close as possible while still having access to the fitting. Usually I mount my fuel pressure regulator on like the shock tower right here. Typically my wagon has it right there, but this one I'm gonna have it on the fuel rail. A little different than I usually run it. Tyga is off the firewall as well too, but there's a reason why I got the mini reg. I'm gonna throw an image on the screen for you guys to read about this regulator while I set this up for the fuel rail. So the mini regulator right here is set up. So right here we're gonna be coming off the fuel rail with a 6.6 orb. This right here is to eliminate a bunch of fittings in between. It goes from the fuel rail straight into the regulator. One is fixed, the other one is a nut with a crush washer and an O-ring. The bottom right here is a -6 to a 6AN, and this is going to be the return to my return hardline that's sitting on the driver's side firewall. And then we have a 6 block off on this end because we're not using it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just screw this into the rail real quick. All of the O-rings are lubricated already. This guy, this one, and also this guy. I'm gonna go ahead and just screw it into the rail. And this regulator is going to sit at an angle due to like hood clearance. If I stick it up like that, that'll go through my hood. I'm going to line up this surface right here as flat as the fuel rail, and it's going to sit something like that. So once you position your regulator, the orb has this loose nut where you can just tighten it down until it's nice and snug. I can't put the gauge right up in the front because, again, hood clearance issues. So I think with this I might have to put it upside down right here on the rail itself and just kind of read it like that, right? I don't have the angle fitting to kind of like angle it up like this, because if I did, I'd put it up right here in the front just for it to be straightforward and sits low. But in the case of not having it fitting, I'm gonna go ahead and stick that guy right there with some Teflon tape. But before we get to this, this guy right here is gonna be my return line, which is gonna go all the way to this guy. Now, I was looking at my fittings and stuff, and I think I've gotten the wrong fitting, the compression fitting right here. This right here is supposed to be a 5/16, but this guy is a lot smaller. If you guys don't know, the EF feed line and return line is the same size, and the EG DCs and other chassis has the bigger hard line on the feed and the smaller on the return. So this is the wrong one for my car, and I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do just yet, but I am going to still add the -6 line to that fitting and just kind of have it routed in place until I figure out a solution for this guy. But aside from that, I mean, that's pretty much my fuel system right there. Big shout out to B&R Fitting once again for sponsoring the fuel system. All right, so I went through my fitting box because it is always nice to have spare fittings for whatever reason, and I was just kind of going through it to see what I had. And this right here is a 5/16 compression fitting. The only difference is this is a female end, right? Not a male end that I was looking for, like the one that I had that was wrong. is a male end right here, right? And the only difference with this guy is I'm gonna have to run a 6.6 adapter right here, and that converts the other end to take in a hose end that's a female, which is typically like all of the ones that I'm running right here and over there. And the only thing is that it makes it super long. Now I'm not worried about it sticking out super long because one, it's tucked in, and two, it's the return system. I don't really care as long as it doesn't leak and as long as it does the job. So it looks like I have a solution right here for my return line, and it seems like it's going to be pretty difficult to try to compress it on this hard line because there's no space. I don't know, kind of want to turn the car on, and the only thing left is engine oil and a battery. So let's get down to business. So I've been sitting here for like 35 minutes trying to figure out how I'm gonna mount my battery. I definitely do want my battery to be up in the front instead of in the trunk like I've always had it. And I am using the 51R battery, which is the one from the wagon. This is like, I mean, it's brand new. It sits in that car, doesn't get driven, but it still has juice. I might just stick the battery right here. Just let it sit right here in the front, and then run a positive, which I found in my bin, right? Positive wire. Put it on the battery, hook it up to the starter, because OEM battery positive, you know, harness is off the battery to the fuse box, and then it goes to the starter. So in theory, it's the same thing. Since this goes to the fuse box already, I'll just bridge it off here to the positive, and then ground, I don't know, ground it somewhere here or on the chassis itself. That should provide power to the car and to the fuse box. And just program my K-Pro real quick and see if it turns on. Let's rig it up real quick. Man, you guys don't know how much my heart is racing right now. Now typically I don't like to try to turn the car on unless it's like completely done, you know what I mean? That's kind of how I've always worked on my cars. Get everything installed, everything ready to rock and roll. This is crazy. Oh, we got power for sure. All right, I'm just gonna take that off. I'm gonna get my laptop. So I went to my wagon to get my cable, and I'm just noticing now that my window visor is gone. I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to Kim Manager. First and foremost, I got to pull my map out of here so I can have it saved. So I'm gonna go ahead and old version. Go ahead and download from the ACU. No, I don't want to save that. And for me to know that this is my map, I am gonna go to my injectors, 1600, right? And then I'm gonna go ahead and save that map. I'm gonna go ahead and open a new calibration. I should be hitting up Germany to get me a base map right now, but I'm just so eager to get this thing going because I know building a base map takes a little while. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to new. This is a bone stock K20A2. Damn, there's a whole bunch of them on here. Wait, it does sound like the fuel pump's running. What's going on here? Yeah, we got fuel pressure, but I smell a little bit of fuel. Oh, right there. Okay. So it's only got 10 pounds of pressure, and I can't seem to get any more out of it. So going out, going in doesn't change. And we know we got fuel because it was leaking there, it was leaking here. I had to put Teflon right there, you can see. And I don't know, I'm gonna try to turn it on because I'm anxious as hell. I did think I seen the check engine light was solid earlier. Still solid. Multiplexer not present. I don't know what that is. I heard the main relay go off. Oh, it sounds like he wants to go. What's going on here? Why aren't you saying check engine light? Smell. Oh snap! I forgot. The piece of freaking paper or bag over the exhaust system. So one thing I did notice is that when I have the key in the on position, right? And the fuel pump comes on, main relay clicks off, but the pump's still running. So I don't know if they rigged it or something, but the pump stays running. It's got, I don't know, 22 pounds of fuel. And like I said, I don't feel anything coming out of the return side, which is weird if the pump is running. And no matter which way I turn it, it doesn't change fuel pressure at all. So Brian told me to pinch the line and see if it changes. Let me go prime it again. No, still the same. I don't know, the check engine light is still on for the multiplexer or whatever it was. $30? What? This fucker just turned on. Are you serious? Yo. Dude, this thing just 3 check engine lights? Oh, secondary O2 sensor, multiplexer. What is this? Daughter board communication? Guys, car is freaking on. No idler control valve, went straight to 900. I can't have it on too long because I don't have no cooling system, but yo, the car is freaking on, guys. That's crazy. We did it. We got the car to turn on before the 15th, guys. The 15th is tomorrow. So guys, I just cleaned everything up. All my stuff put away, everything off the engine bay. Did that just rhyme again? But y'all, the car is finally on. That means we can button up everything else. I did let it just idle until it got up to temperature, about 190 on the laptop, and then I shut it off. Within those minutes in between of warming up, if there was an issue, a leak or whatever, I would have seen it. So I had Brian was saying, you know, about the whole pinching thing and everything to kind of rule out the regulator. And I do feel like the pump is a little weak. Like if you stay really steady, you can feel the flow really lightly in the lines. And obviously I couldn't feel it back this way because, you know, it was such low on pressure that it was really hard to tell if there was anything flowing through it. But the car stayed idle. If there was no pressure or a return system, the car wouldn't have turned on and idled the way it did. So he was saying that maybe it's just an old retired pump. I think it has a stock pump in it. I've never like opened it, and we do have a fuel pump for the car, and the previous owner, it had a ceiling cam in here, so I'm pretty sure there was no reason for them to upgrade the pump. And I'll take care of that another day. Aside from that, guys, we were able to knock everything off the list right here except transmission oil, because I am missing a quart. I want to do the overhaul in this whole suspension before I stick the axles in it, put the fluids in, so on and so forth. So the next thing for me on this car is probably, no, I can't even say the cooling system, because I don't have all the fittings and everything I need for the barb style on the tuck radiator instead of a -16, because the radiator did come with a -16 and we're not -16 here. The exhaust is coming, the cooling system's coming, the full suspension overhaul is coming. I talked to some of my buddies over at PM Auto Works. They're willing to set this car for the track, since they do track and they build a lot of track cars. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Just remember, progress is better than no progress. And before we end this video out, big shout out to B&R Fitting once again for sponsoring the fuel system to the car. If you guys want to check out some stuff for your fuel system in your car and other items, be sure to hit the link in the description below to check out his Instagram and his website. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.